WLFE-DB Digital Network are engaging in the safe space. What is safe space? A safe space is a supporting and affirming environment for individuals within the LGBTQ+ community. Each podcast displaying the Safe Space logo will have resources available on hand for those in need without judgment. Here at WLFE-DB Digital Network, we care. We listen, we support, we understand.
Warning, the following video contains strong language which may be offensive to some viewers and or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Inside the Drag Closet with Jade. Join Jade DeVere and her fabulous team of guests as they discuss all things drag, from wigs to makeup to performances and everything in between.
Join us at WLFE-DV.com for upcoming shows and more.
Hey kids, how y'all doing? It's Anastasia Diamond here, and this is Inside the Drag Closet. Oh, I got a piece of hair in my mouth. Oh, Jesus. Well, as you can see, I'm all alone with no one here beside me. And that is because I am missing my lovely, gorgeous, beautiful co-host, Miss Jade DeVere. Well, she is taking a hiatus. She's on hiatus this month. Girl, this hair won't get off this lip. There we go. Cut that bitch out. It'll grow back. Oh my goodness gracious. I am super duper excited to be here with you all tonight. We've got a couple of really fabulous girls who I pickpocketed. I hand chose. But I also stole a few things from them as well. Oops, sorry. But this is Inside the Drag Closet, and so we are a digital vodcast show where we talk about all things drag and some things that aren't. Who knows? It just matters that we have a really good time. Is that the phrase? I can't remember. But either way, we're here to have a good time. I think that's what it was. Well, I can't see the comments as they're coming in. So we will just go ahead and jump into the who, what, where, and hopefully our producer, who is AKA Miss Jade DeVere behind the scenes, will be able to pop up comments as they come in. But let's jump into who, what, where. Who am I? I'm Anastasia Diamond, glamorous, fabulous, gorgeous, model, educator. My makeup is a little light tonight because I went to the beach and I looked pale. And what am I wearing? Tonight I'm wearing everything. Lord Jesus. I look a little crazy tonight. It was crazy coming home. If you all don't live on the East Coast, we had a literal monsoon, a literal torrent, a tsunami coming down 81 all up and down the East Coast, at least here in Pennsylvania. So I was rushing home from my new job. And so what am I wearing? I'm wearing this gorgeous wig from Zambra Sky. I also have lots and lots of makeup on from Julian's Place, Urban Decay. People were really loving my lips. These are also from Urban Decay. I've got some makeup on from Black Opal. I can't remember the other place. But I use, it's the stuff that Amethyst uses for her foundation. But left or right, lots and lots of makeup on. I also have this really cute dress that I got from, I believe it was Donna Terrell. Yes, it was Donna Terrell. And it's just really bright. I thought it goes with the hair and the eyebrows and the lips. It's a little crazy. It's a little 80s. Where can you find me? Well, you can find me anywhere, really. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Venmo, Cash App. All those places you can find me at Anastasia Diamond 95 everywhere. You can also find me on in your first grade teacher's bedroom, sucking dick so I can try and help you out in school, baby girl. I got you. I got you. We're seeing everyone coming in here. Hey, Mama, Amethyst Diamond, Derek Gamble, and Derek Gamble Gantz. That is Jay DeVere's husband, BT Dubs, if you didn't know. All the colors. Yes, all the colors, Mama. Yes, so it is absolutely. Congrats on the new job from Vicky, by the way. How's it going? It's going really, really great. This new job I'm working where I'm working with Queries of Color day in and day out. I have not yet started that yet because this job is really cool. They have a month-long orientation that I'm going through at this point in time. So the orientation process is literally a month. I did 2 weeks, and then I went away on vacation. I went to South Carolina to Surfside Beach, and it got hella dark. Like I said, this makeup is a little light. Oh my God, I never talked about my jewelry. Of course, the jewelry that I'm wearing, it's always from Lux. But now I'm on week 3 right now, and then next week I'll actually start working at the facility where I'll be working. So I work for an organization called UPMC. Big wigs, money. Come through, baby girl. Resources. But I work here in Central PA. I love it. It's great. The coworkers are great. They're phenomenal. Look at me, lovely. Thank you, Karen. Oh, hello, Corey. That's Miss Speedy Face. Thank you. Thank you all so much for being here tonight. It is such an honor to be here. Thank you all so much for coming and watching us. But I have gabbed and gagged for about 6 minutes now, so I really want to bring out my first guest. She is fabulous. She is phenomenal. Let me just make sure I check to make sure I ain't got nothing in the chat box. No, I don't. It's crazy being a hostess. Give some love, give some applause to the one, the only Miss Sage Daytona.
Hello, Miss Anastasia.
Bonjour, how are you, lovely?
I am great. I worked today. I'm feeling refreshed. I slept a little bit. Loving this nature I'm in.
I was gonna
give a little bit of Mother Nature with my tits out.
Ooh, we love a titillating conversation. Girl, I was gonna
God, honey. God.
Yes. Now you are very much so Mother Earth, Green Thumb, Poison Ivy. Like, tell us a little bit about who you are, what you're wearing, and where we can find you, please.
Well, my name is Sage Daytona. I've only been doing drag for about a year, 4 or 5 months, but I've been dabbling in makeup, and I majored in theater. So there's that, theater gay. Where can you find me? Street corners, back alleys, at the pool, the nude beach. No, I am not 21 yet, believe it or not. So I cannot be performing at the bars, but I've been invited to some brunches, and I've been invited to some other shows and other events like this one. So you can just look for me all over. I'm all over the damn place. What am I wearing? I am wearing, I bought this like a long time ago, probably one of the first sets of costumes I ever bought. I always buy in 3s or 4s because it's cheaper. So this one was the custom. It's actually a romper, and it's got a cape. So it's sickening, but I won't stand up and show you because you'd also see my junk. So
well, stand up. No, she's a lady tonight. She has no junk.
Lady.
This is ladies' night. Come on, come through. So you said that you are not yet 21. Yeah. So that means that you haven't performed at a club yet. You haven't gone to the bars yet. I mean, you may have gone to a bar, but you shouldn't have been there.
That's neither here nor there.
Period. You said I will neither confirm nor deny. So that makes doing drag really, really hard. So how have you been connecting with the drag world? What has kept you going, and what really motivated you to start doing drag? That's 3 questions in one.
Okay, so I'm going to start with the motivation. I'm going to try to work in chronological order here. So motivation, I think as we all do, we find mom's makeup, or in my case, I live with my grandmother. So I found her makeup and put on a brow, put on a smoky eye. I looked a hot mess, but I thought, this isn't me. I don't look like me. This is a different person. And I just loved that person. I didn't know her name. I didn't know what she was going to do for me, but I thought, oh, I like her. And then I found a name for myself, Sage Daytona. Sage, you know, you burn it for good vibes. In Daytona, sometimes when I get to babbling on, I sound like a NASCAR driver. So there's Sage Daytona. But what were your other questions? Because I definitely have forgotten. Because the ADD, after a long day at work,
it kicks in. It kicks in. So really, how do you stay connected to? Well, first of all, how did you get connected to the drag world?
So in my area, there are some sickening, I'm going to call them legends. To me, once you've done drag over 20, 30 years, you in my eyes are a legend because I know your body hurts because my body hurts. So I'm going to call you a legend whether you want to be called a legend or not.
Yeah.
So I've been blessed to work and be in an area with those types of folks that are very welcoming. Not at first, obviously, but you gotta see what they're made of. You gotta show off a little bit, let them see what you're made of, and then maybe they'll invite you into their clique or into the group. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you had a good time at the barn. We're going to be doing more events soon. Not soon, because Christmas at that barn is crazy. Anyways, it's one thing that I learned being a Facebook queen. I love Facebook. I spend hours and hours on Facebook. Is don't be afraid to friend somebody. Even if you don't know them, I'm friends with people from Indiana. I'm friends with people from California. I'm friends with people from PA. Don't be afraid because it's going to keep you, you're going to feel stuck. You're going to feel like I can't go here or explore this area or like I could get up now. I'm not 21. If I were 21, I could get up now and go perform this place and this place because I've made these connections. And on to this point, a lot of people my age that are under 21 love to bitch and complain about how they're not getting these gigs and how they're not getting opportunities to perform, talk like I am. It's because you're not making connections. You're spending more time working, and it's good to work on your art because I spent a year and a half to work on my art, makeup, everything. But you can work on the Instagram filters later. Make the connections now because I promise you that is the most important thing. I do not have a drag family. I do not have a drag mother. I taught it all myself. But I have thousands and thousands of drag sisters that I can call up, ask for this. How do I clean my lace? How do I clean this? How does this work? Do you know what I mean? It's all about connections. And that's what anytime, like I was talking to a 17-year-old drag queen from West Virginia, where there's like 3 places to perform in the whole state. Right?
Yeah.
And he told me, well, I'm best friends with one of the people that own one of the bars. And I said, well, good. There's your connection. Yeah. Stick with that person. Stay on good terms with that person because that is a great connection to have. There's vice versa, which is an 18 and plus bar. Look for those 18 and plus bars. I used to go down to Baltimore, and I know that's a hike from here where I am. That's an hour and a half, girl. Hour and a half. But good drag, good vibes, good people, diversity, and you can get high as hell on the street. You can get right there on the street. Right there on the street. But seriously, look for those 18 plus venues or areas. Most show producers or show hosts will put on their event flyer the age limit for, and if not, don't hesitate to ask them. I know it may be embarrassing, even if the answer is yes, you have to be 21 to come. But then you put in that effort and they see that you want to come. So maybe they might do a show that's 18.
Exactly.
It's like I said, it's all about connections. All about connections.
Well, and there are so many different all ages pride shows here in Pennsylvania. I mean, I think that every single show.
That's how I met you the first time.
Yes, exactly. So the majority of the shows here in Central PA, at least, are family pride.
Yes.
So like, if you can go to an all ages pride show, bitch, go, because you can. That's how you make those connections. You know,
and one thing I will say is a lot of people, I don't do this because I personally, if I'm not getting paid, or it's not Halloween, or it's not for a party, I don't get up into all this. This area is Hagerstown, Western Maryland for me. Because it's a lot of work and it's a lot of stress to put your mind under. Like doing my makeup alone, some days you have 2 or 3 panic attacks. So yeah. I don't recommend going to a gig not being booked in drag underage to try to get a gig. I do recommend going underage as a boy or however you identify and meeting the host. Walk right up to the host whenever they have a free moment. Because 9 times out of 10, she's going to talk to you. She'll ask for pictures. You'll show her pictures. She'll like what she sees. And that connection's built. And then you maybe have a gig.
Now, how long did you take? And we're probably about 5 more minutes here. We're going to take maybe a little bit less than that.
Right.
So because we'll jump over to talk to our other
Miss TRIXY.
Yeah. Yes. But I mean, how long did you take before you stepped out? Because I know that for me, as also starting out as a social media queen, I was an Instagram queen. I did those Instagram challenges and everything, Henny. You couldn't tell me I wasn't a goddess, even though I lost every single one. How long did you take before you decided to step out into the real world?
So I went to a performing arts high school, Barbara in downtown Hagerstown. And while in that art school environment, I discovered drag while doing theater. Anybody who does theater knows that is like a full-time job almost. Rehearsals, practicing at home, learning your shit. It's full-time almost. Yeah. So I didn't really have a lot of time because I was in Hairspray, I was in Drowsy Chaperone, Addams Family. So I was in all these shows and rehearsals were till 10 at night. By the time I got home, I didn't want to try to practice painting my face. I didn't want to try to put on heels and dance after I had been dancing for 4 hours already. So I kind of waited until I graduated and really dove in. I mean, fist in, all the way in, rubber glove on, just, I dove all the way in because I thought it's either now or never.
Child, was there lube at least?
Oh, water-based.
Oh, thank God.
Water-based, because my girls out there that are allergic to silicone, I don't want to hurt them. You know.
Oh my Lord.
We don't need no bum holes pooping up. I love me some Shannon. Oh yes.
Well, y'all, I am going to go ahead and say thank you so much for being here tonight. We're gonna bring you right back after the commercial break, but we got to bring in the new girl. You got so much love here, girl. You got so much love.
Thank you.
You are absolutely gorgeous. Thank you so much for being here. All right. Well, I will go ahead and see you after the commercial break. You take a few puffs, a few sets. Oh, no, not sets because you're not 21. But do what you gotta do, girl.
This is just cranberry juice and ginger ale. It's a little spritzer.
Oh, okay. All right. That's what we're gonna tell that's what we're saying.
A virgin cocktail for the virgin.
Oh. Now we're lying. We'll see, girl. Oh my goodness gracious, she is a key. She is a dork. I love her. And that's the thing. Talking about younger drag queens. She's not 21 yet. But seeing so many queens coming out nowadays who are like 16, 19, even like the guy who you love, the little boy who you love, Derek, his name is something amazing. He's like 7 or 8 or 10 or something like that. I mean, these kids are coming out young nowadays, doing drag and doing it well. And it just really sucks because, I didn't start doing drag until I was 19 years old. And I think it was 19, yeah. Yeah, I was 19. It was the summer after my freshman year. And I was a beat hot mess. You can check it out on my Instagram. Once again, Anastasia Diamond 95. I keep every single picture up that I take of myself, every single selfie or every single picture that someone puts up of me. Yes, Desmond is amazing. And they are like 8 years old. They're like small. But these kids are coming out here. There was the absolutely gorgeous young lady who we had on last week, Chanel. Just stunning. This girl is freaking gorgeous. But enough about gorgeous young queens. Let's go ahead and bring on one of the most beautiful queens who I've spoken to in the recent years. She is so smart as well. She, talking about lubes, talking about, condoms, virgins, sex expertise. Go ahead and bring on my gorgeous, my lovely, my fabulous TRIXY VALENTINE.
Hello.
How are you? You look so gorgeous.
Thank you. Hold on, I'll pose.
Oh, wait a minute. Stop. You get me wet here.
Thank you. I was where you're going. You're here to talk about all these beautiful queens, and I was like, well, I'm up next. Like, let's go.
And I was like, you're right up there, baby girl. Love you. Look at this hair. You laid down that baby hair like everything.
Oh, this hair. So this hair is by Ariana Autumns, which I know she was on when you did 420. Trust me, I watch her. No, she did hair for me, and it's funny she did it because so my roots come from cosplay, so I did her look, and this hair is for the Joker for a female version. But
what?
And like some gold and black, like.
Yes, I love that black look. You know, black is beautiful.
Ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? So,
TRIXY, you mind giving us a little bit of who, what, and where? Who are you? What are you wearing? And where can we find you?
Yes. So my name is TRIXY VALENTINE. That's TRIXY. So just to make sure you understand the spelling, and Valentine like the holiday, because I will be your favorite holiday. Who I'm wearing, this dress that I'm wearing, I don't know who made it, but I got it from Tequila Daniels. So I'm sure she got it from someone who knows how to sew and do crafty things. This jewelry is by Looks. That's LEWKS, and I absolutely love them. These are scorpions up in here. I have a matching set to match, but I just didn't feel like wearing all of it tonight because it's one of those, like, these pointed things kind of hurt. And then this hair, as mentioned, is by my best Judy, Ariana Autumns. She does amazing hair. I'm surprised she didn't stone it, but that's okay. Where you can find me, it's TRIXY_Valentines almost everywhere you go on Facebook and Instagram. I'm a queen well known in Northeastern PA. I live in Berwick. I perform a lot in these smaller towns I'm trying to get to, which is like Bloomsburg, Sunbury, Danville, Catawissa. And you're like, where are these names of towns? And I'm like, exactly. Like, I'm a rural queen who, like, I don't look like I'm from Aurora. Trust me. They're like, are you from New York? I'm like, no, honey. I'm from right here in Pennsylvania. And
yes.
Get your life when I say, like, when you see me. So, for sure.
Yes. You know what? Talking about diamonds in the hair, I know she would have put a sickening diamond. A diamond tail right there. That would have been beautiful. Look at you. You're getting so much love, TRIXY. Yes.
Yes. Hello. Yes. Jake. Oh, my God. Thank you all for joining. Yes. I mean, what can I say? I'm a queen that has a voice in a rural. Like, I have to give it out for the rural queens. Like, Pennsylvania is one of those states. You're either in Pennsylvania as a drag queen, you're either from Philly, Pittsburgh, or then there's PA. But the rest of PA, you have to earn your voice. You have to work. Like, you have to network. You have to get in. You have to, like, reach out to those people where you're like, this could be an uncomfortable situation. It could also be a dangerous situation, but I'm the do it. Like, I'm the one, like, who else is going to do this? And like, for me, I'm a queen that's like, the worst thing that can happen, at least it's happening to me and not someone else. Amen. And like, you go out into these small towns and you're like, your town needs this, and like, well, what do you mean? And I was like, and like, how we know we need it is not just from kinder, it's just from living the truth. The discreet community is there, but at the same time, like, I had to say, I was a queen that I was like, I was tired of driving 2 hours away to do a gig. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, why can't I do it in my hometown? Why can't I do it 20 minutes away? Why can't I do it 25 minutes away in the surrounding area? I'm like, I can't. Who do I have to talk to? Who do I have to show? Like,
work.
Just drag. It's the queer community, because drag is a gateway in a good way to open the doors to be like, here we are. We're in your town.
Yes.
And let's show it. And so I learned that in the hard way and / easy ways, depending on what town I'm in. Yeah, where it's just like, hi, I'm here. You don't know me, but you'll get to know me and like do it. So
word. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, and you know, you have had such a great, I mean, you're talking about the work that you're doing. It's not just the drag work that you're doing, because you got some really great accomplishments in drag, which I'd love for you to talk about. But then, as well as that, you're also doing great work within the field of HIV care, within the field of diversity, education, and inclusion, and you're even going on to get your doctorate degree right now, which is like, that's so crazy.
Yes, thank you. I'm too humble to talk about it a lot, but that's a good thing. No, as a queer individual, I have to impress myself, because when I say who do I look up to, it has to be myself, because I've never met anyone who's like me and has as much as me in like the field that I do. So for those who don't know, I do currently work in the field of HIV. That actually currently ends. Yes, Jacob Kelly Queer Education is my current thing for social media. I just got my master's in human sexuality at Widener. I am going for my PhD, meaning I'm getting my doctorates in human sexuality philosophy. I started my dissertation here on Monday, the 23rd. I'm starting my dissertation. I'm starting that writing process. I'm all of my research and everything I'm doing is actually related to the queer community as well. Like, I'm not stopping. Like, I just dedicated my entire life to making sure that the queer community has a researcher out there who looks like them, sounds like them, like them, feels like them, like you name it. I wanted to, because I know when I grew up, I didn't have that.
No, exactly.
And I was just like, I would thank you. I want that. Like, I was like, because people are like, are you gonna stop drag just because you get your doctorates? I'm like, no, you can call me Dr. Valentine.
You said who? Yeah, no, man.
Right. And so thank you.
That just means I'll be increasing my booking fees. I don't have to go on RuPaul's Drag Race for it.
Right. Like, that booking fee is gonna have to go up because I have a tuition to pay off.
Yes. Well, you know, but that's the thing, you know, now that you could already be doing it. I'm not sure if you're doing it right now, but do you go to local schools or colleges, et cetera, to do a drag show? But then, as well as that, a presentation, an educational presentation as well, because that's where the cointadas are. Like,
yes. So there are a few conferences that local friends of mine have actually done. My next conference I'm going to is in November. It's the LGBTQA Mid-Atlantic Conference. It's actually at Bloomsburg University, so it's like right in my backyard, which is
gosh.
I presented there almost every year, and like they love me, and like they're like, can we hire you to run our drag show? And I'm like, absolutely. So like, I'm hosting their drag show. I'm presenting there as a professional, as Jacob Kelly Queer Education. It's amazing. And it actually, I actually do Zoom virtual teaching may seem like a simple, but for me, it's been an achievable goal. I've presented in Chicago at Adler University. I've presented at Gonzala in Washington. Like, you name it, like Jacob Kelly Queer Education, like I've done it in the sense of talking in this way for the simple fact of like, I want people to understand this is an authentic self who's branding them. You say anything, and like people are like, what do I talk about? Like, I will talk about drag and like what expression is, but I'll tie it to like what is gender expression, right? Like how to present as people in real life. Like for me, it took time to do this, but in everyday life, I don't look like this. And like, what conversations come up, why, right?
Yeah.
And so, and then I also
teaching people the difference between gender identity versus gender expression versus, sexual orientation versus romantic attraction versus, I mean, it's so much more complicated than people understand for it to be.
Right. Yes. No, it definitely is. Diversity, equity, inclusion is my strong suit in the field of human sexuality. Because when I teach sex education, I'm like, oh no, sex. And I'm like, it's a lot more elaborate than what people want to misconstrue it as. I'm like, it is relationships. It is setting boundaries, healthy boundaries, communications, relationship buildings. It's the idea of understanding our desires and how we control our own desires and learning that so much more than what people give it. So, but yes, I've have presented actually Lock Haven University just asked me here in the fall, and I was like, oh my god, I'll be a guest speaker. Absolutely, like I'm super excited. So it's for myself, like I'm a queen both in a wig and out of wig. Like
yes. Now, Trixie, when you're not, in full geesh, you said that you're a queen in and out. So, out of drag, what pronouns do you use, and how do you identify?
Yeah, so I will say in drag, I use she, her typically. I will put they in there because gender neutral pronouns for me are 100% okay across the board. Yes. Out of drag, preferably I use they, them. Now, if anyone that follows me follows the Juicy with Jake series, which is a sex education series by the Rainbow Alliance, they'll see that I put they, he. He is a pronoun I only allow people who don't know me or who didn't get my permission to use he, right? So like my pronouns may for some are like, that's not a big deal. But for me, they lift so much weight off as a non-binary individual that I'm like, thank you for using, thank you for seeing, you don't just see me, you see beyond this image that I was given, right?
Exactly.
So outside of drag, I use they, them pronouns preferably. I will introduce myself as they, he, but anyone who knows me knows, well, now you know I use they, so you better not be using he.
And everyone who's on this podcast listening tonight knows if you see Miss Jake, Juicy Jake, and I'm talking juicy.
Juicy Jake.
It's they, them. Yes. Oh my goodness gracious. Now, not only do you have these wonderful, great accomplishments out of drag, but then in drag as well. You this year you were the Northeast PA.
Yeah, so this year I just stepped down from NEPA Pridefest, and I actually just became the very first North Pocono Pridefest. I'm a pageant queen, like, which is, I say that with pride because people are like, oh, a pageant queen. I'm like, no, I look good.
Period.
People are like, why do I look good? Pageants did this.
Exactly. Come through.
Right. I compete for Miss Gay America. I placed top 4 in 2019, which is a big deal if you don't know. Like top hard to get. Like top 5 is hard to get. Like both years I competed in 2018 and 19, and so that was good. I do still plan to compete. I want to be your Miss Gay Pennsylvania America one day. I'll get there. I'll get there, but
I know you will.
Yeah, so like competing, like as a drag queen, competition is one of the ways I've learned to not just like as a queen. I've learned like you take those moments and you control yourself. You're like, here's a set of criteria. Does it fit me? Can I compromise? Yes. So then you learn how to like navigate, and you learn how to control some of your art. Because like the look I have tonight wouldn't really go for competition. But I learned how to be authentic outside of that. And so like, because I've seen people who compete, pageant queens who compete, and they're like, they stay in the mold of a pageant queen. And I'm like, if it works for you, get it. But if it doesn't work for you, we see that it doesn't work for you. Like, let me just say
that. We all see you struggling, girl. And you're not happy. I mean, there are a lot of people who just are not happy. They do it because they think that that's what they have to do.
Yeah.
Look at all the drag queens who go on RuPaul's Drag Race, and they hate drag so much after they go on that they quit.
Yeah.
And so it's like, girl, we all see you're not happy.
But I definitely will give the shout out for pageant queens, at least in Pennsylvania, that it's not the pageant can destroy you. I will say that it can if you let it, because I did not let it. I was like, hold up, I better win because I'm me, not because you're you.
Yeah, totally, completely. Well, fabulous, Miss Trixie. Trixie, I really want to get into your ethnicity and your racial background. But we need to go to a break right now. Once we come back from the break, I don't think I'm doing an affirmation with Anastasia, so we're all just gonna come back because I didn't prepare anything. Yeah.
That's good. When we get back, I will talk more about myself because as drag queens, that's the best thing we can do.
Perfect. Well, Trixie, I will see you and Miss Stage when we come back from this commercial break. Mwah.
WLFE Digital Broadcast Network is on TV. You can watch all of our shows on WLFE-DB.com. Check out our channels. Paranormal View for all of your paranormal type shows. LGBTQ Friends for all of our LGBTQ shows. Variety Unlimited for all other shows. It runs 24/7 right on WLFE-DB.com. You'll even catch the lives, all in one place. Never miss an episode, past or future. WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows. Here at WLFE-DB, you can find shows that vary in many topics. The paranormal, the creepy, heavy metal, and LGBTQ and drag. Our shows are your shows, and we want to provide a wide diversity for all to enjoy. So, tune in to Facebook.com/WLFE-DB Radio. Like, follow, and share with your friends and family. Also, go check out our website at www.WLFE-DB.com. 2021 just got better. Your favorite shows from WLFE-DB Radio can now be found on Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Yes, we now video stream to both of those platforms. Search for your favorite shows like Where's My Sage, Inside the Drag Closet, Across the Pond, Everything Yet Nothing, Paratalk Radio, Step into the Paranormal, The Creepy Parlor, Just Cindy, and more. Now you won't miss an episode. Remember, follow Facebook Live and YouTube Live. Make sure you subscribe and follow your favorite WLFE-DB radio shows.
More from WLFE-DB Radio Network after this.
Hey guys and dolls, this is Casey DeVille, the better half of DeVille Inc., Baltimore, Maryland. If you're ever in Baltimore, stop in and see me and Tony. Invisible Bree, 5920 Eastern Avenue, Baltimore, Maryland, 21224. Give us a call if you're in the area at 410-400-9641, or look us up on the web at DeVilleInc.com. DeVille Inc., where we specialize in you.
Oh yeah. Life just got sweeter now that WLFE-DB has merchandise. Show your support by purchasing your t-shirts for WLFE, Paratalk Radio, Inside the Drag Closet, and more. But it doesn't stop there. T-shirts, coffee mugs, tanks, buttons, cloth bags, and more. Go to WLFE-DB.com. On the top bar, click on the merchandise tab, and bam, there you go. You got merch. Support the shows. WLFE-DB.com.
You're listening to WLFE-DB Radio. Now, back to our program.
Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. So as you all saw on the commercial break, we do have merchandise still. And shout out to the people who did not take their vaccines or wear their masks, because now our masks are back in stock. Woohoo! So we've got gator masks, regular masks. We also have t-shirts and whatchamacallits and everything and anything. So please go to beach towels. Look at the stickers. We've got everything and anything that you could ever want, especially those masks, because it's not over. Get your vaccine. Wear a mask. And you can purchase a mask at Jade. Let me make sure. I think it's JDevier.com. There we go. JadeDeVere.com/merch. Mwah. This producer is phenomenal. Thank you, producer DeVere. Thank you, producer DeVere. So I need to, yes, please get your questions ready. But also, I guess I lied a little bit. There were a few things that I wanted to talk about today. And so one of the ones, it's old news, but I want to talk about it anyway. Because I work in the field of HIV care, treatment, prevention, education, period, etc. And so does Miss TRIXY, at least for now. We're gonna get into all that. And Miss Sage, is very new in this world, and so she's like a little rabbit, and she likes to hump things until she gets tired. So it's very important to talk about misinformation about HIV and AIDS as well as other STIs. So if you don't remember, back maybe like 2 weeks ago, rapper DaBaby, who is a baby, decided to speak out about the queer community as well as HIV and AIDS. So in his song, in his music video for a song called Giving What It's Supposed to Give, which is funny because that is a phrase used by gay people, queer people. It's not giving what it was supposed to give. Like, that is literally a term ripped from the queer community, which is funny that you're stealing that from the queer community, but you're against gay people and you don't have any information about HIV and AIDS. But I digress. He states, in the end of the video, he holds up a sign that reads AIDS. And he says at the very end, in rainbow letters, "Don't fight hate with hate. My apologies for being me, the same way you want the freedom to be you." And in the song, he has lyrics that state, "Bitch, we like AIDS. I'm on your ass. We on your ass. Bitch, we won't go away." He also later said, at a music festival, if you didn't show up today with HIV, AIDS, or any of them deadly sexually transmitted diseases that'll make you die in 2 to 3 weeks, then put your cell phone lighter up, he said. Fellas, if you ain't sucking dick in the parking lot, put your cell phone lighter up. And a multitude of other really awful things. Now, there was immediate backlash for him. Many different festivals and things, organizations, artists, et cetera, dropped him like a hot potato. So very, very homophobic. After his very homophobic comments, and after his very misinformed information that he put out there about HIV and other STIs, Madonna spoke out against him. Elton John, Dula Peep. 11 national LGBTQ and HIV and AIDS organizations released an open letter to the rapper. There was a Florida-based event that he was supposed to go to. Everything's getting canceled. People are taking money out of his pockets because they said, "Who are you? Like, girl, you literally do a song. You do songs with Megan Thee Stallion left and right, and she is obviously for the queer community." But I wanted to get everyone's hot take on this. So if my ladies can pop back in here, I would love to know what you all thought or think about this whole messy situation with DaBaby and his homophobia and ignorance about HIV and AIDS.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, please do.
I'm going to go first because you two work in this field and I'm just a youngin' yet. So I've educated myself, but I've not dug as deep as you guys have, which I respect and admire 100% and hope to get to that level one day. Seriously. I'm going to say, this is hard to talk about, but what I'm going to say is I'm going to assume it comes from a place of ignorance. I'm going to assume it's not hate. I'm going to assume there's not hatred in his heart for the queer community or folks with HIV. I will say he has a lot of ignorance towards the queer community and towards folks that have HIV. One thing I will say, and I'm not taking up for him in any sense, is that if you don't have friends that are queer or HIV positive. Not saying that it's someone else's responsibility to educate you. That's not what I'm saying. But if you don't have those types of people in your life on like a closer or a day-to-day kind of basis to where you talk and have conversations that are deeper like that, that ignorance just grows, and it grows as you get older. Do you know what I mean? And then it gets to a point where, oh, I can joke about this now because it's not even a big deal to me because no one's ever talked to me about it. Do you know what I mean? That's how I'm going to look at it. Because I obviously don't know him. None of us do. I don't know how he acts. I don't listen to his music. I listen to disco music and 90s baby makers. So and Prince. So I really don't listen to so I don't like the opening part you said about the song where he mentioned AIDS. I had no idea about that. That was all new, brand new to me. I don't follow him. I don't know him. So I'm just going to say, from my point of view, it comes from complete and utter ignorance. And maybe he can get to a point one day where he's like, oh shit, I don't need to post it, but I said some shit that I shouldn't have said. And I'm not that person no more. Do you know what I mean?
What's sad is that I feel like, okay, so multiple things. So first I'll say Google is free, but also there's a lot of misinformation out there, even still with Google. And so he should have enough individuals surrounding him, a PR team, people who are managing his image, people who, I mean, yes, you can put out whatever you want to put out, but you need to understand there are consequences for actions at every single point. And so it's like, so he did apologize, but then he took it down. And I didn't talk about that. But later on in the article, it talks about how he apologized, but then he took it down because it was actually not him apologizing. It was his PR team who put out a statement for him. So it's like, do you want to do the work to make amends?
No.
So it's too soon to say, honestly. I'm not defending him because I don't know him. I don't have a reason to. He's completely irrelevant to me. But I mean, it's too soon to say. I think a lot of it too. He's probably embarrassed.
Oh yeah,
like extremely like that face. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and he'll never say it because it'll hurt his pride.
Yes,
it'll hurt his pride, and that's the level we need to get to with men. You just, it don't matter if it hurts your pride. Let your pride be hurt for a minute. Let it out. Let it out.
Just cry, baby boy. Cry to me. Just let it out.
So,
what do you think, Trixie?
So I have a lot of thoughts. I didn't want to cut Sage off. That's all. That was all. Like, I don't know if you have any more thoughts, because girl, like you mentioned, like I work in this field, Anastasia works in this field. Like,
I want to hear your point of view because of that.
So there is the idea of ignorance, and then there's the idea of just plain out just being stupid. I'm gonna just say it's stupid. I will say I have never heard this of this artist until this incident. So that, I guess for me, my exposure to that kind of artist, something like this has to happen for me to hear about it. Let me just say that. So there are two fields that I have. There's the idea of understanding the queer community, and then there's the idea of understanding the HIV positive community. And those are separate communities. While they have been forged in one community, if we think about like the history of HIV, like the queer community was definitely in there. It was really seen in the 1980s that the queer community HIV was like hand in hand. But like through education and time and where we're at now, they are two separate full out communities. And I will acknowledge that time and time through. With that being said, there's an understanding that it wasn't just ignorance that happened. There was a full lack of actual, like, this individual thinks in through and through, like, this is what HIV is. This is the type of person HIV is. This is the action in which HIV is. This is who gets that. And I sit there and I'm like, hold up, wait, you not just re-stigmatized an entire generation and generations. You went back in time, pulled out the 1981 first ad that said 41 homosexuals up in a who have grid up in here in the newsletter. You threw like this, like you brought all of that back with the language that you used, and I'm sitting there like, what? Yeah. Like, hold on. Like, this is to me it's beyond ignorance. It's just pure discrimination in the sense of what HIV is for who are living with HIV, because like working with those individuals, not just working with individuals, having friends and family members, like I just sit there and think like, hold up, like, wait a second, like there is a level of pure lack of education that's happening, and that lack of education is purely around like seeing the virus before seeing the people, right? Exactly. And so like people are literally saying, here's the virus, where's the person? We don't see them. Like
once we get it, they don't see that person anymore. They just see the
virus, right? And that's the language that's happening. That's exactly that's the stigma. That's called stigma right there. That is purely what's happening. And for me, like when I read about this article, and I sat there, I'm like, I was not surprised working in this field. You lose all what you're surprised by. I will admit it. I'm like, oh, not surprised. Secondly, though, I will state though, I was like, hold up. Where's the person in this? Not just the person, the people he's speaking about. Where are those people? Yeah. And he that is when like this fake apology came out. And I will say, because if it really truly came from his PR, it was fake. It wasn't from him. Like that's when we get into this understanding, like what's his understanding of the queer community? And like that came a whole different perception for me. Like what came out. I'm over here like, hold up, do you even know who we are as people? Because if you still have this ideology, this format of thinking, perception of like the queer community and HIV are still this one thing, like you clearly lack something to show people like A, they're two separate communities, B, those two separate communities, while they have a history that conjoins, they are still individuals, people in different aspects of their life that allow them to be authentic, original, and in a cause for different needs. And I do put needs there. As a social worker, I have to say, like, there are things there that don't equate, like someone living with HIV to someone being queer. Now, when they're together, which is very common, that's a whole different level too. And like, there's a whole level of education that needs to happen. That was missed. That was missed in the lyrics. That was missed in the apology. That was missed in this whole discussion. Because I will say it's a discussion. This came up with my coworkers. This came up with friends. And I'm over here like, y'all missing the discussion. This isn't the right discussion we should be having.
Right.
Work. Lay it out. Well, and you know what? So this is the biggest reason for why a lot of people will still say like, oh, we have HIV patients, or this is an HIV person. So no. Let's back that up. Language matters. So this is someone who is living with HIV.
Right.
Or a person first who's living with diabetes, heart disease, HIV, boom, whatever. You know, this is not, it's language matters, and you have to use people first language. And then as well as that, I think that the question is like, okay, Google's free once again. He's friends with Megan Thee Stallion, who does Legendary, which is a queer-based show, which, you know, he has so much music out with Megan Thee Stallion and Dula Peep. So it's like, oh my God, what? That makes no sense. Like, you're around surrounded by all these queer people and people who support queer people. What are you doing? But we need to also think about society and the problems with comprehensive sexual education. The lack of comprehensive sexual education, because he's like a 29-year-old guy, like a 30-year-old guy. He's near our age. It's not like he's like 60 or something like that. But it just shows that there is still a lack of comprehensive sexual education, specifically for our sexual health and a proper sexual health, and then queer sexual health as well. Excuse me. So. I mean, I don't know about you, TRIXY, but I know that in the field where I work, the majority of folks who we have coming for services are cisgender women. heterosexual cisgender women.
Yep, same.
So,
I mean, for anyone, you can look up the area related to where you are. It's the annual surveillance data. Our area is the majority percentage, if you need one, 40%, I'll just say, is actually heterosexual cis white men. That is our category. Right underneath there is heterosexual cis white women. Like, they're underneath. But then again, like, if you break it down to demographics, that's our population where I live. Like, that's it. We're not calling anyone out. We're just like, that's statistics. Like, that's that.
It's the data. Data don't lie.
But when I hear about the comment of, like, you know, when I hear anyone, let me just say it this way, when I hear anyone say, like, my gay friend or people I know, the first thing I think was, like, how well do you know them? Because the minute I'm used as a crutch for you, you have me mistaken. Yes. You have me mistaken.
Yes. Exactly.
A fucking men. A fucking men.
Like, because if I was a friend, you would know.
Exactly.
And as a sex educator, you definitely
my
gonna
friend
know.
Blank, not my gay friend.
Yeah.
Right.
My gay friend has a name. He's not gay friend.
Even like, oh, this is Trixie. She's a drag queen and she sucks a lot of dick. But, you know, enough about her. But you know what? This might not even be a conversation that we're having in the very near future. So another article that just came out just on the 16th of August, so like 2 days ago, states that Moderna is about to begin trials for an HIV vaccine based on COVID-19 research. So they're saying that Moderna will soon begin human trials for their mRNA-based vaccine, according to information posted to the National Institute of Health's clinical trials database last week. Moderna is seeking 56 individuals aged 18 to 50 who are not living with HIV for the trial, which is estimated to begin on August 19th of this year, so like tomorrow, and conclude in the spring of 2023. Moderna is also reportedly developing an influenza vaccine based on the same technology. So, all that to say, Moderna is currently working on a vaccine for human immunodeficiency virus, or i.e. HIV, which is very similar to where we get vaccinated from Hep A, Hep B, HPV, etc., etc., etc. So, what do you all think about that? And also, when the vaccine comes out, would you be interested in getting it?
I know I'm a youngin', like you said. I do be out there doing my
like a little rabbit.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know the age of people that's watching right now, so I'll watch the term.
This is a mature show.
The kids, you know,
horny, go to bed.
Horny. So I am a very sex positive individual. That's what I'll say. I'll put it at that. And I know I work in a nursing home, so I work in a healthcare center. I don't work in the health field. I work in a healthcare center. I was vaccinated. I was in their first round of vaccinations. When they said they were offering it, I said, fucking sign me up. I want to live my life. My whole life, I remember being vaccinated as a child for this or that. My grandmother told me about being vaccinated for polio that was killing people. Yes. And science wasn't anywhere near what it is today back then. And my grandmother's still here with me today. So I'm going to trust science, and I would trust a vaccine if it was like this one, like the COVID vaccine, approved for all individuals such and such age and up. So yes, I'd be all for it, 110%.
Now, just an FYI, because it's an mRNA vaccine, it does not contain a part of the virus. So if this is not a live vaccine, they wouldn't be putting HIV into someone's body or anything like that. Instead, the vaccine will create proteins that themselves will trigger an immune response within the body. So I'm not sure if that changes anyone's answer, but it's very similar to the Moderna COVID-19 vaccine.
One thing before I do end my portion, I will say there was a vaccine, I'm not sure which one it was, that was like 76% effective or something like that. And I have severe anxiety. Like I refuse to be diagnosed for it because I just know. I don't need someone to tell me. I just know. Something that's 76% effective versus 99%, I'm more likely not going to take that 70. So if it were to be something like that where it's only like 72% effective, then I don't know then in that situation. But if it were to be like the Pfizer and the Moderna where it's 99% effective, all signs point to yes. That magic 8-ball, shake that thing up. All signs point to yes.
Well, it'll be so much, but I mean, I'm just thinking about, I am curious, and Trixie, I'll go to you then for your opinion on this article. But I'm thinking about like PrEP. Like, where will that go? Will we continue that? We need to take that like partially. Like, we need a booster shot for this HIV trial vaccine. And then how will you know if there's like there are so many questions, like layers. I'm like, okay, but that's cool and all. But what?
It'll probably be like PrEP, where you take it and then you get tested, where you get your blood drawn every so often, and they still are keeping everything in check. I'm going to assume it's going to be something like that because of it being HIV, because of it being a disease, that it would be monitored that way as opposed to, oh, you need a booster now. Do you know what I mean? Maybe.
Well, they can't, because for UPMC, I had to get blood work done, and they took so many vials, and one of them was to check and see if I had the varicella vaccine, the chickenpox vaccine. So, like, they can tell if your levels are too low.
Right.
So, I mean, if they can tell for the varicella vaccine, they can probably tell for this vaccine as well. But we'll figure that all out in 2023. Trixie, what do you think about this vaccine?
So let me just put a few things out there to make sure I'm educating the children appropriately. If we talk about the vaccine, there is actually already a trial that's out there. I forget what the medication's called. It starts with a C. I think it's like Cabaret or something. I know, like Cabaret, not like the musical. Like, there's a vaccine. I sat through many different scientists, pharmacists who were trying to tell me about it. That's cool, whatever. Based off of how that one works, which I don't know where the last trial was on that before Moderna came out with theirs, it was a monthly shot. So let me put that out there.
Oh.
They were working on a monthly shot. And this is not a cure of HIV. This is a protection against HIV. So there is a difference when we talk about HIV vaccine for anyone that's confused. So you would get that shot monthly is how that works.
They do have that Cabenuva shot that's for individuals who are living with HIV. That one is for individuals who are living with HIV.
So they were working on that, but as a prereq towards like what PrEP was. I don't know what the last trial was. Just because like science, and I'm over here like, just tell me what the trial is. I don't care what we put into it. But yes, that was the last one they were working on. They were actually working on it not just as a thing related to those on HIV treatment, but as a preparation for it for those in PrEP as well. So they were working on both different trials.
That would be nice.
With that as well, with this new one related to Moderna, I will say I'm intrigued on what these trials look like. I'm intrigued on who signs up for it, and I'm trying to know who the database is. For those who don't know, look up the Tuskegee related experiments and stuff, because that's my biggest worry, is this unethical understanding of what it is. Now, I don't find it unethical right now, because if they're looking for volunteers, they are following procedure. If you sign yourself up, you sign yourself up. It's volunteer. But with that understanding, though, I kind of sit there and I'm just like, if there's a vaccination, when we say vaccination in this case, we're saying someone who's HIV negative who would get a shot to protect themselves against HIV, like we do for HPV and a few others like Hep A and B. Would I take it? Yeah, but I would need to see the trials, like the studies.
I gotta see multiple. Yes. I gotta see about 15 years of this shit, because I ain't having sex and I need to know.
My only thing is I'm confused about the monthly aspect. I'm like, is it like an allergy pill? You take it once and it works. You take it twice and it works twice as good. Is that what they're trying to get from that?
Well, so I will say for most HIV medication, whether you're HIV negative or positive, because PrEP is also an HIV medication, is that when you take it daily at the same time, it builds your resilience up. It's how you gain that. It's when you no longer follow that same pattern. So you're no longer taking it daily and you're no longer taking it at the same time daily. Your body starts rejecting that. That's human nature, because your body's like, oh, wait, I don't need this. And it starts rejecting. It's not an instant process. It becomes, instead of a 99 process, it comes down to a 98 process or a 97, and it gets lower and lower. And that's how these openings work for people.
Gotcha.
It's literally so to answer your question, it's as long as someone's following the procedure of taking it and how they're doing it, they should be fine. It's when they no longer do that following up with like at the same time. That's when
there's going to be those, and I hate to say it, there's going to be those queers that are like, okay, I'm going to Puerto Rico this weekend. I'm going to take that shot just for this month to make sure that I'm good for this month, because that's how it works. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, even PrEP alone, people don't understand they need to take it for 7 days straight before engaging into.
That's exactly what my family. I had a family doctor before I switched to an adult doctor. Like a kid's doctor, and she was actually the one who recommended PrEP to me, and I thank her every day, because I was like, wow, I would have never thought that you would have been the one to recommend this to me when you mainly see children. So people they're educating themselves. Like my area's pretty progressive. There's a lot of room to grow as far as HIV education. But there's definitely a lot. Like, I know they have a at the clinic here, not the clinic, the health department here, which is walking distance from my house, convenient. They have like AA, but not AA, but for people who have tested positive for this or that, and they can come and share their experience, and they can let it out with other people that understand. So I'm hoping more things like that continue to happen.
Now, Trixie, I am familiar with the 7-day method for PrEP, but there is also apparently this new way that people are talking about for anal sex, which is the 2-1-1 method. So the 2-1-1 method is 2 pills are taken 2 to 24 hours before sex. 1 pill is taken 24 hours after that first dose, and then 1 other pill 24 hours after that second dose. Now, I don't like to chance fate, but people are saying that this method, it's not people, but scientists are saying that this method is as effective as the 7-day for anal sex only.
Let me just say this. I'm gonna say two things. There is such a thing that's called PEP. That's not PrEP. Let me just start there. But what people don't know is PEP is the same medication that PrEP is. It's just the way you take it and the dosage and that kind of thing. I'll just start. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, PEP is one of those medications you take if you think you encountered it was actually originally prescribed or raising as those in the medical field to get a needle stick. So they get stuck by a needle and you don't know.
And PEP.
Yeah. So PEP was that medication you take post-exposure. PrEP is that pre-exposure.
Right.
Yeah.
With that being said, though, when you look at that method that you just mentioned, there are still side effects to that method, and it actually states it right next to it that it's not a high percentage guarantee, because I won't say it doesn't work. I said that, but the percentage lowers, and it actually stated on that type of method that the procedure lowers. And so when someone uses that method, I was like, it's still better than nothing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if you took it 7 days a week at the same time, everything, it's a higher percent. It's 99%.
Exactly.
Whereas if you take it in the method that you mentioned, the 2 to 1 day method, it's like almost, it drops to almost 70%.
It's too much. And you have to remember to take it then. And then I would just prefer
there's everybody and their mother would fucking forget. Everybody, if you work full time, not happening. That method's not happening.
Exactly.
If you work in any full time position anywhere, that's not happening.
No. Well, and so that's the thing. It's scary. Well, it's not scary, but it's just like, because the efficacy is not as high as if you were taking it every single day, like how PrEP is normally prescribed.
And then you're anxious about taking something that you're trying to help ease your anxiety. So
Exactly.
like you're not getting what you're wanting from it.
Well, so the biggest side effect from PrEP that a lot of people talk about is diarrhea or nausea or stomach pain. So it's like you want to take 4 pills in 3 days that you don't. I mean, if you were taking the medication every single day for 7 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, that nausea or stomach pain will slowly go away. But if you're just taking it intermittently, like how this method is talking about, I don't know if I want to be getting railed in the booty hole while I don't know if I'm shitting on the guy. You know, like what?
I will add this though, like whether someone's on PrEP or not, like whatever method works for them. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if someone were or is living with HIV, like that is also something manageable and okay. I just want to add that because when we get in the conversations of prevention, sometimes we forget the notion of like living with HIV is like the scariest thing when it's not. And I don't want to mean that being safe or preventative, when we think of the idea of safe, that, you know, that's a deeper conversation we clearly don't have time for. But when we look at these ideas of prevention, like living with HIV, again, is something manageable, something you can do, and something that is okay to be living with. So I do want to, I just want to throw that out there, as even though we're on this conversation of prevention of PrEP, because this idea of PrEP and understand, and even the vaccination of like that we have from Moderna that's going to happen, like while we don't know the full trials yet, it's still important to acknowledge like this is still an action. This is still something someone can do to prevent themselves. And I do want to let know both not negative and positive communities both know, like, whatever the position's at, you equally valid.
Definitely. So in other news, Free Britney is finally apparently becoming a thing.
Free Britney.
So there was an article that came out that talked about how Britney Spears' dad, Jamie, is finally agreeing to step down from his conservatorship. What do you all think about that? Did you all get a chance to look at that article that I sent? Or what do you all think about that?
I'll believe it when I see it. So, one thing I know is crazy white men. And her father is fucking insane. If you feel the need to do that to your daughter, you're insane. If you were a good father, she would have tossed $1 million or $2 million your way when she started making that bank. You didn't have to hold it for her. You know what I'm saying? So he knew what he was doing the whole time. He knew he was being manipulative, and he loved the power. Like I said, I know crazy white men, they like the power. So
totally.
They'll feed into it. I want her to have this freedom so bad because there's like a meme going around where she like bought an iPad and it's like the very first fucking iPad she's ever bought. If that's true, that's a damn shame because
it really
makes more money in 5 minutes than I make in a year.
And more than a year in your lifetime, baby girl.
Exactly. Listen, so it's just little things like that. Like it would tear me up not being able to get into my car and drive to up the mountain just to see nature or something like that. She can't do that. She's got to ask daddy at 39 or however old she, I don't know how old she is. At 30 some years old, she's got to like, it just don't make sense. But
you know, she can't walk her children in nature.
I will believe it when I see it because I've seen it split in half. I've seen half of news outcasts, news platforms, whatever the fuck you want to call it, say that she has freedom now. And then I've seen the other half say that this was just put in to stir the pot type situation. I 100% will believe it when I see it.
Word. All I have to say, she's 39. Jesus.
39. Okay, girl. She even hit 40 yet. She ain't old. She young as shit.
No. Brittany's still a MILF, not a GILF yet.
I mean, I have to agree. like, so when I think about like who has the power over Britney, and it's her father, and I kind of sit there and I kind of cringe. Like, it's a cringe-worthy moment. It is like, I just like, yeah, like I just sit there and go, who? Oh, hold on, wait. What?
Wow.
And then you see a picture of him and you go, ooh. Like, it's a moment that I'm like, when I understand the statement of like free Britney, like anyone that's against that, I'm like, y'all, who, what? Like, hold up, wait, hold up. Like, nah, like, when it comes to Britney, like hands down, anyone against her or like on the father's side, I'm like, get out, like completely. She an adult, she know what she's doing, and like she needs her own, like, also I'm a joint feminist, so I'm like women's power, like she, like, why is a man controlling her, period.
Yeah, very much that. All I have to say about the Spears family is fuck Jamie Spears' little child. She ruined Zoe 101. I was fucking with that show, and she ruined it. Her and her pregnant ass had to cancel the show. Fuck Britney Spears' sister. God damn it. It looks like we have a question here. Do you think, Evie Brown says, do you think there is a disparity between the sexual education of the general population of people and specific demographics within specific communities based on their cultural stigmatization of homosexuality? So basically, the question is, do you think that the general public receives a different kind of sexual education than those within the queer community, with those who are Black, those who are Asian, those who are, particularly Hispanic or Native American even, et cetera, et cetera?
Being only 12 years old, I just finished public education. So I'm going to say that I remember there being 3 grades of sexual education throughout my public school experience. And I think it was 5th grade, 8th grade, and then another grade in middle school. I'm going to say it was 6th, maybe. You watched a woman give birth. They told you to use a condom, and they taught you about heterosexual sex and heterosexual sex only. And this was 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, it's lacking completely, and I feel like we as queer individuals have to learn on our own, and the resources that we have to learn on our own are not appropriate whatsoever. Shout out to Pornhub. No, specifically, no. Shout out to Tumblr. Way back when.
R.I.P. porn Tumblr. Oh, I miss you so much. Oh, I miss you so much.
Now we have Twitter. Twitter's cute, but there is not enough education. And so like queer kids, they don't learn about douching. They don't learn about, like, should you douche? When should you look at this.
Please teach the children to douche. Please teach the children to douche. Oh my God.
Many patients are not wanting any other sexual education. Many parents, Corinne says, are not wanting any other sexual education for their kid.
Yeah, but what if your kid's queer? What if your kid's queer? And if your kid doesn't know that he or she or they is queer now, they may in 15, 20 years figure that out, because not everyone figures it out as a child or as a teenager. So I think it's just as important to teach both.
So let me know when I can jump in. I feel like
whatever.
I feel like this is something teaching queer inclusive sex education is a thing of mine. So several parts to this question that I think a lot of you mentioned. First, sex education period is not taught in a way for people to learn. I'll just start there. I don't care if you're heterosexual. I don't care if your orientation, gender is, race, whatever it is. It's not taught in a way for everyone, period. It's actually more taught at a religious base, and that's nothing against religion, but also when it comes to sex education, that should not be in there in the sense of like what sex education should be that allows it to be shame-free, positive, and a safe space for people to grow and learn. Done. Moving on. When it comes to education under these umbrella terms or things, our cultural differences does matter. When it comes to our race or age or sexuality or gender or disability or ability, all of those matter when it comes to what type of sex education we need. Period, point blank. And, you know, one of the things I will say, like when it doesn't come to race, as a Japanese American, like the values I hold truth to me do display in my own forms of sex education or sexuality in that aspects. So when it comes to that, there are different forms there. Anastasia, I don't know if you can acknowledge that within being even part of the Black and Brown community, right? Like we hold sexuality and sex education differently in terms of what we're told in traditions and stuff.
Definitely. Yeah, I don't engage in like you know, like random hookups, because all my life, even though I was taught about, you know, sexual education, I was taught about the growing of the pubic hair and the adult hair and the under the armpit in 5th grade. You know, I was also taught by my grandparents, my family, there's STIs out there and babies. If you want to bring those home, you won't have a home to come back to.
Right.
So it's like
right. Yeah.
Keeping it real, bitch.
When it comes to this idea of sex education of where it's lacking in every diverse and inclusive and equity situation. I will say that through and through, because the thing is, when I teach queer inclusive sex education, it's honestly more of the surface level of identities and learning LGBT things. But when it comes to this idea of what sex is and what it can be, people don't want to have this conversation. No. They don't understand that anal sex is for everyone. It's not for one specific group. They don't want to explain that vaginal sex can also mean that men is inclusive. And I don't mean men being the ones that are penetrative. I mean men's with vaginas or vulvas. Like, they don't want that conversation, just like they don't want the conversation that women can have penises. Like, no one wants to have these conversations when it includes the like LGBTQ community and this diversity of what sex education can really look like.
Completely.
I have a question for you two, since you're in this field. And especially you, TRIXY, because bitch, I am just getting my life listening to you. I feel like I was taking it all in. I'm gonna message you later and be like, thank you for educating me. But where do you think we start then? Where do you think is a good place to start? Where's that fine line where everybody will be okay with you starting there?
You won't be able to find a fine line. You just have to do it. The thing is, people are not going to learn things unless they are taught. Like kids. I know that for me, whenever it comes to when it came to driver's ed, they took driver's ed out whenever I was eligible to go to driver's ed, and I was like, well, shit, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I didn't get my driver's license until I had to get it. If you don't force someone to do something, they're not ever going to learn about it. And as well as that, they're not going to learn about it in a safe way. Once again, talking about Tumblr, talking about Pornhub, talking about Twitter, these are not like, you will see people who are having sex raw, no condom. And it's like, okay, we're not going to talk about why condoms are important. We're not going to talk about what kind of lube to use. You'll see people using like Vaseline to put on their condom, and it's like,
not respectful to your partner whatsoever.
No, please stop.
Yeah.
So, I think that, you know, we know that kids are having sex earlier and earlier and earlier nowadays, and it's because what's on TV, their parents are talking about it, kids are talking about it on the bus. So age 12, I remember up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, there was a guy who I was talking to his 14-year-old daughter. I was like, oh, here's some information about our teenage resource center, you know, here at Hamilton Health Center. They provide, you know, STI testing, condoms, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And she's like, I was like, you're 14, you know, you're in 9th grade, you're in this place with like people who are 18, 19, 20 some odd years old sometimes if they're held back. And so, you know, you need to learn this information. And the father came up and he was like, she doesn't need to know any of this information. Don't take that information. I said, well, sir, with all due respect, you know, you seem like you're fairly young. You know, when did you have her? I had her when I was 12.
Oh.
So, sir, kids are having sex at age 10, 11, 12 nowadays. So we need to be providing age-appropriate sexual education across the board. I think that sexual education should be an every-year thing. To be honest, if gym has to be an every-year thing, if math has to be an every-year thing, you're not going to use A squared plus B squared equals C squared.
Right, but you're going to be fucking a hoe way more than you are going to be learning the square root of fucking 12.
Period. So I think that's just my answer for that. When should it happen? All the time. And these conversations should not just be happening in school, but in the home as well. The appropriate conversations instead of just, you don't need to be having sex. Abstinence. Abstinence does not work.
I will have to say also, so when people ask me, like, who do you teach? I was like, I don't teach children. I don't teach children. Right. Like, that's the thing. I was like, children are not my main priority when I teach people this education that I have. It's adults and adolescents. It's right. It's like it's late teenagers to anyone over 6, whoever wants to listen, honestly, who's still alive. Like that's what it is. And I sit here and I was like, Anastasia, you bring up so many good points when it comes down to like where should sex education start? It should honestly start when the child's able to comprehend. So in psychology, that's about the age of 3. Let's just start there. Yes. Like, when can they start? Like, you teach people consent at the age of 3, and it's by like, nope, this is not my body. This is your body. You get to control your body. You get to say yes and no to all those things. Right there is sex education, period, point blank. That's all.
And you're not taking it to the extreme, and you're not teaching a 7-year-old about such and such. You're
like you're not teaching right. And you're also teaching them about parent-child dynamics, right? Like, as a parent, you get to teach them, like, I'm your mom, I'm your dad, I'm your parent, period. You're my child, you're my son, you're my daughter, period. What does that look like in our family? Because I'll never tell anyone, like, this is what your family needs to look like. You get to control that, like, period. Right. With that being said, when it comes to sex education, how early you can start, there you go. I just gave you a dynamic that looks like. But when it comes to what we're talking about, I typically teach older individuals because I have people like you say you work in elder individuals, right? Like you work into like an elderly home.
Oh, like old as fuck. Like
right.
80, 90.
That population alone has one of the highest demographics for gonorrhea, chlamydia, and syphilis.
I believe it.
That's true.
And they do because they're over here having sex in these retirement homes, and like people don't want to think about their grandparents or elders like having sex. And like, if they can still get it up, they're still getting it in.
And part of my dementia and Alzheimer's training in this unit is that once your mind becomes you kind of go back into like a repuberty, like in a way of putting it so everybody understands. Like like all those hormones come back once again at 90 years old, 80 years old. So.
And the thing is, in addition to that, you know, also think about the individuals who are the individuals who are high functioning with a memory illness or disorder, and a lot of those individuals, a lot of men are taking advantage of these women.
Oh, I've seen it firsthand.
I mean, it's scary how they know that this woman has they are further they have a the dimension that they're living with has,
it's in a further stage than
That's what I'm looking for. It's progressed to a later stage, and so because of that, they target these women.
Yeah,
it is very, very scary.
There's. I mean, I know exactly what statistic you're talking about, but I will also put out there like the statistics of that women live longer than men in that.
Exactly.
And there are different challenges within there because then there's an understanding consent. Like, what does consent look like with someone who has dementia or Alzheimer's, right?
Yeah.
And that is a real conversation to have. That is a real that is much.
And even if they do, their values are still what they were when they grew up. And in 1920, there was absolutely, positively, 100%. Nothing said about consent.
There we go.
STIs, anything of the such. Nothing.
Yes. And you are just sitting there watching, you're like, Mr. Roberts, please stay out of Gloria's room.
But I will say, to answer the overall question of like, where could we begin on an aspect that doesn't involve like children or elders, or this idea of like where it does become situational, I will say, is this idea of like, where do we begin? And Anastasia, you already said it, wherever you want it to, period. Like, you have to become comfortable with what you're going through, and that's not easy. So my question to people who like, where do we begin? Where can you become uncomfortable to become comfortable to learn?
Right.
Yes. Beautiful. Well, you know, that's a fabulous tip right there. But as well as that, we also have a phenomenal tip from our lovely, editor, producer, drag husband of all, Mr. David Gamble Inst. So Derek creates a drag tip of the week every week. I think there might be a new one today. Yes? So here the drag tip of the week is, it says, don't waste your time trying to be a better version of someone else. Invest your time, energy, money, and passion in being the best version of you. Now, I love that. I love
it.
Amen. That is
amen.
Authenticity.
Yes. Truly, truly, truly.
I was not my authentic self until I graduated high school, and I even went to a performing arts high school where being 100% openly queer was not frowned upon but loved.
Wow.
And I did not become my 100% self until I left.
Amen to that, because it took. So I'm 27. No, you know, I do not shape. My age is not a thing to degrade. Like, 27 proudly.
I hope I make it 27, girl.
It wasn't until I was 23 where I learned how to be authentically me. As a queer individual, as someone who's lived through many experiences that this show does not have time for, related to different forms of myself. 23, though, when I think of the number, 23 was the year and age where I was like, I'm gonna be me. And I've already been done doing drag. So when we get back on drag, I started drag when I was 20. I've been doing it for over 7 years. But 23, that was the year for me. I was like, I'm not going to be anyone else but myself.
Yes. Preach. Well, you know what? Talking about being ourselves, it's almost time to become ourselves again and get out of these wigs and makeup. So, if you all want to plug something, if you all would like to give once again a rundown of where people can find you, and then as well as that, if you just want to go ahead and give some words of sign off and love, please do so. I would really appreciate it. Trixie, if you'd like to go first.
Yeah. So again, my name is Trixie Valentine. That is TRIXY. Valentine, like the holiday you'll absolutely love. I'll say a few things outside of drag. I am Jacob Kelly. You can find me at Jacob Kelly Queer Education or Juicy with Jake videos. Absolutely. With that being said, my biggest project I'm working on is I'm the chair of Columbia Montour Pride, and we have our first ever Outfest, which is a pride event that is happening in Columbia Montour Pride at Bloomsburg Fairgrounds. Think about that. Bloomsburg Fairgrounds. We're doing that as a way to show our pride in this area, in this town. Our first ever pride that's ever happening is going to be a big deal, which is October 16th. I have to plug that in there from 12 to 6. With that being said, again, I'm Trixie Valentine. Jacob Kelly Queer Education is also outside of here. And I want to just thank everyone for who showed up and listened to this. Thank you.
And Trixie, we spent the entire show and we didn't talk about the other fabulous performer who you're actually a twin with.
I'm the twin. Can you imagine that I would be overshadowed? I would never. No, my twin she's been on the show before. She is the sensational. I'm actually going to perform in her hometown, and she won't be there to watch me this weekend. I hate her in Virginia. Harpy Daniels, the Navy drag queen, is my twin. Yes, she is. I absolutely love her. There is no hate here. Like, people like, do you all like hate each other's life? I worked for this. What you see, I worked for. She worked for what she got, and when we put them together, we're a double threat. We're a triple threat. We're a quadruple threat. So like, y'all think that like she may have gotten the international change. I got the smarts though, so like I know what I'm doing.
Yes.
Harpy Daniels and TRIXY Valentine. We're actually working on a few numbers and shows to put together for 2022 because 2020 put everything else to shame, and 2020 is allowing us to catch up. So
yes. Well, Fab, you guys could probably maybe do that. The sister. From White
Sisters.
Yes. Oh, fabulous. Sage, how about yourself? Please feel free to say some kind words.
I will say I had the best time tonight. It's very refreshing to hear different points of view and educated points of view. Very, very, very refreshing. I appreciate being on this show. I appreciate everyone who watched. My name is Sage Daytona. You can friend me on Facebook. My boy name is Zane Talton, ZaneTaulton. And on that page, you'll see in parentheses, Sage Daytona. So that's my drag name. You can find me, like I said earlier, on the street corner, on Grindr, at your dad's house, odd places, just all over. But I appreciate, like I said, I appreciate being here, and these two bitches are sickening.
I want to I would have to give a shout out for Sage, because Sage mentioned in their one-on-one with Anastasia, like, who you network, and who was like, I was friends with Sage before this show, period. So Zane, Sage, like, I know who you were. So I will say it do matter who you network with and who you know, because I knew who you were before you were on this show. I'm period.
Exactly. And I will be starting my OnlyFans up again. Mama needs some change. Her car needs operated on. Beep beep. So she needs some change. So make sure you sub and look for that new name soon. Okay.
Are your breasts going to be very much so present, or?
I mean, if y'all would be living for a gender fuck post, I would be giving it to you house down boots.
Do what you gotta do, girl. You know,
breastplate, jock strap, all of it.
You know the DL guys are into it, girl. You know the DL guys are into it.
I'm done with the DL guys. Speaking of douching, they don't know. Somebody teach your local DL guy to douche.
That'll be me or Anastasia.
Thank you.
Girl, you come on, girl.
And then send them my way.
You should know. You will know.
Yes, truly.
That's what I'm talking about.
Truly. Ladies, this show has been phenomenal. I am so appreciative of you both for being here. I am in love with both of you all. I am hopefully looking forward to becoming Mrs. Jacob Kelly someday. And we can also bring along Miss Sage for low fun.
No, I'll just be recording in the corner.
Not recording in the corner, girl.
It's okay, bitch. I make 40%. I make 40% of the profits.
That means I better be making at least. That means you got 10%.
Oh my goodness gracious. We talked about so many topics tonight, but I am just once again appreciative of you all for being here, ladies, and I appreciate everyone who's in the comments, on the viewing us tonight. We had a lot of very serious topics, and if you're able to sit through all that, you know, and look at the glamour and look at the beauty and learn something from this, as Tyra Banks would say. Thank you. My name is Anastasia Diamond. This is Inside the Drag Closet here on WLFE-DB Radio. Thank you, and stay fabulous, stay fierce. Make sure you get out there and go get tested at least once a year if you have a monogamous relationship. If you have multiple partners, please get tested every 3 months or so. And other than that, wear a mask, get a vaccine, get your booster shot once that's approved, and stay lovely, stay educated, stay beautiful. Love y'all. Have a good night. Everyone take a night. Good night.
Thank you.
You've been listening to WLFE-DB.com, where our shows are your shows.